Hi class, my name is Doug Ashlock, and today I'll be going over pilotage and dead reckoning, which is covered under the Airman Certification Standards Commercial Pilot Airplane, Area of Operation 6, Task Alpha. We'll begin with an introduction to pilotage. Pilotage is looking out the window, knowing where you're at, and then correlating that information to the stuff you see on a sectional. Looking at a sectional, seeing an obstruction, such as an antenna, looking out the window, finding that exact same antenna, and then navigating with skills like that. Keys to this are reference to landmarks or checkpoints. You're also going to want to choose checkpoints that are readily identified. You wouldn't want to choose a singular antenna in a mass of antennas. And the same would be, you wouldn't want to choose an intersection in the middle of a city. However, an intersection in the middle of a country road, and it's the only intersection for hundreds of miles, would be a great reference. And then you also want to choose a checkpoint that is not too far away, so that if you get off course, you'll find out sooner than later. That way you can correct to get back on course. Also, you never want to place reliance on a single checkpoint. So you have bracketing and then you have backstops. That means bracketing is, I'm not going to go farther than this left and this right. And if I've hit this checkpoint, I know I've missed this other checkpoint. However, it allows you to make that mistake, and you've planned for it, you've compensated for it. Other things to consider: if you miss one, that's fine. Just keep looking for that one or the next one. That way you don't continue to beat yourself up and get off course. If you think you've missed it altogether, don't turn off course. That's key as well. Turning off course can get you disoriented. You get turned around and then you're lost. And then also, never approach an area of antennas less than 500 feet below the tallest one. And then be cautious for new structures. That would be, if it's not in the chart, then you would want to check the NOTAMs to make sure that there isn't construction on a new tower, or maybe a construction frame around an existing tower. Dead reckoning. This is distance, direction, time, and airspeed. What that means is I'm going to travel this far away at this heading at this airspeed for this amount of time, and I will arrive at this checkpoint. So the keys for this are, again, time, airspeed, distance, and direction. Inputs are adjusted for wind direction and speed. Dead reckoning is usually used in conjunction with pilotage for cross-country flights. So you're going to look outside and see your checkpoint, and then you're also going to time yourself at the speed to known distance and direction. So you'll check yourself against your plan, and then also you're looking outside to make sure you're on par with what you planned for. It's a constant calculation, monitored and corrected by pilotage as observed from checkpoints. So again, like I said, with the pilotage, if you're off course, you can adjust course, and that's looking outside and noticing that you're off course, and then getting back on course, so your dead reckoning can continue as planned or as close to planned as possible. So between the two, it's always important to know your minimum safe altitudes. 91-119 has a mandate that over congested areas you must maintain 1,000 feet above the ground and 2,000 feet laterally from any persons or property on the surface, and you want to avoid causing undue hazard to those as well. Over other than congested areas, 500 feet above the ground, except for over open water, sparsely populated areas. In that case, no closer than 500 feet to any person, vessel, vehicle, or structure. What does that mean? You live in the city, you got to be 1,000 feet above the ground. And then if they have tall buildings, you must be 2,000 feet laterally away from them. You start getting into smaller, more rural communities, and now your restriction goes down to 500 feet above the ground. Again, what's legal versus what's safe is a little different, but this would be a legal standpoint. Now, open water, that's pretty self-explanatory. Open water, that's not your best friend's pond, but very large lakes, oceans, big bodies of water, open water, more than power off gliding distance from the shore. And then sparsely populated areas, that's the farmer's field that you're doing your rectangular course around maybe. You can be less than 500 feet above the ground in those cases, above the surface rather. And the only time you must be more than 500 feet away is now that farmer's field has a tractor in it, or the farmhouse. You must be 500 feet away from that. Ground track and ground speed. Your ground track is the path over the surface of the earth directly below the aircraft, and the ground speed is the actual speed of the airplane passing over the ground. Ground speed is true airspeed corrected for wind. So what does that look like? That looks just like this. Your desired course, 090, you have a wind at 20 degrees at 35 knots, which results in a 10-degree wind correction angle. So you must steer 080. You will have 120 knots indicated, which will result in 090 at 110 knots across the ground. My references for this is the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge and the Airman Certification Standards, as well as FAR 91-119.